Rina Shah is a former senior congressional aide to two Republicans in the US House of Representatives, and she joins me live from Washington, D.C. Rina Shah, a very warm welcome to the programme. So it's been a firm no for Kevin so far.
Well, today is a historic day, without a doubt. As your correspondent noted, this has not happened since the 1920s. And I'll say on its face, anyone can see this is a huge embarrassment, not only to McCarthy, but to the Republican Party, as well as to our nation. You know, Republicans not only look so divided right now in their inability to rally around one person to lead them, but this doesn't look good for the body that is Congress writ large. Of course, this is only one chamber of Congress, but in general, it highlights exactly what's happening within the Republican Party right now. These fierce divisions, the argument, and truly taking on the veneer of Trump in order to try to decimate the Republican establishment.
And Rina, how do the American public view what's happening right now?
I think there's a lot of shock right now. We have an electorate that is, if you really look at it, very disengaged. We have pretty low levels of civic engagement in the modern era. We have high levels of disapproval from the American public for Congress, and those have continued to rise in number. And frankly, I think there will be people who learn of what's happening right now as we speak. They'll learn of it tonight, they'll learn of it tomorrow, and they'll sort of shake their heads and say, those people in Washington aren't like me. They don't do much to serve me. So why should I really care? And that's a really huge issue for our democracy. That doesn't augur well for a healthy democracy, a representative democracy like ours, when people feel politically disengaged and they don't feel well represented. That's what we're seeing right now. And the Republican Party is really putting that on full display.
Rina, we keep hearing this phrase that this is the far right of the Republican Party flexing their muscle. So what is it they want there? What's the end game?
It is the far right flexing their muscle. That is entirely it. They've tried to do so for a decade. And in general, what can be said is that over the course of Trump's time in the White House, the House Freedom Caucus, those far right wingers in Congress have actually increased their power. And so here's this moment where they get to really stick it to who they consider are their enemies, the people within their own party, people like Congressman McCarthy, who has had his eyes on the speakership for a long time. He was the right-hand man to former Republican Speaker Paul Ryan, who is not in Congress anymore. Ryan was very much a policy guy, but he looked to McCarthy to do sort of the dirty political work, to whip votes, to play the tricks and games that he didn't really care for. And McCarthy did those well back then. Right now, he's not looking like a very good political animal. And I think it's because he frankly tried to bargain and reason and do deals with this far right members, and what's happened is that he's actually on the losing end.
Rina, who are the fallback candidates?
I wish there was a fallback candidate, but it's not looking like anyone good right now. And when I say good, I mean somebody who has the ability to quickly secure enough votes to show that they can take the speakership. That might be happening right now in real time in the cloakroom off the floor of the House of Representatives, but it's anyone's guess. I think there's a lot of embarrassment right now within Republicans. They don't know what to do. There are Democrats who are talking about leaving the floor, and therefore you wouldn't have to get to that magic number of 218. They would simply take a majority of whoever is there instead of voting present. That is what some Democrats are considering doing instead of voting present. But look, Hakeem Jeffries, the Democrat, got more votes than McCarthy for the speakership in these first two ballots. So this is completely uncharted territory for those of us who have understood the modern institution of Congress. I've worked in it for two former Republicans, and I've studied it extensively. This is absolutely mystifying, but there's no other word that comes to mind aside from embarrassing for the Republican Party, and doesn't help them look good as they seek to govern this year, which sets the table for the 2024 presidential race.
Rina Shah, thank you so much for joining us, Rina, with your insight. Thank you.
Certainly, thank you.